Over the past year and a half, we've been living in this camper full time, from Canada to Costa Rica, and I think we've learned a few things. Come and see why we both love and hate this camper.
This is our 2012 four-wheel camper Eagle model. Now it came as a shell, which means it was completely empty aside from a 2-burner stove and the furnace that was installed. Over the course of 6 months, we fully renovated this camper with a new electrical system, running water, seating area, and some other essentials like a Dometic fridge. But let's jump into why you're here, the good and the bad.
Alright, let's get those bad points out of the way first. And although the size of the camper is a big advantage, living in it full time, you can really feel the disadvantage of it as well. Everything is just super small. The bed is now pulled in, but the moment we pull it out, there is literally no space left for us to live. The sink is tiny, the kitchen area is tiny, but the main thing that is bothering us is the working space. So this is our working station, and as you can see, this is only for one person. So every day it is a little bit of a battle because we both work online. It's a bit of a battle, like who is going to get the nice working station and who is going to find another spot to put his laptop. That brings us to the second point why we hate our camper: the bed. Not only do we need to pull out the bed, and it takes a lot of space. Look at this. As you can see, once it's pulled out, there is not a lot of living space left. We would rather have a camper that has the bed static, so we don't have to pull it out and take it back in every time. But of course that comes with the size of the camper. And then if we flash back to when we did our build video, we were so stoked about our mattress because it was just so comfortable. Well, I can tell you that didn't last very long. The memory foam just does not hold its rigidity at all. And after a couple of months, it was completely flat. We kept on switching back to front, but there's just no way. So we need to come up with another mattress idea. We hate it. The next thing we dislike about our camper is right over here. It's our fan. This is the fan that comes out of the factory. And if it's there or if it's not, that doesn't really matter. It does not do a lot. It helps a little bit with airflow, but to be really honest, there is not much that it does. We would rather upgrade to a max air fan, which we probably will do, but currently this is what we have.
The camper attaches to the bed of the truck via these rather light-duty turnbuckles. Now they're great because they can't catch anything on the outside of the truck, like trees or what have you when you're going down on trails, but they are prone to just loosening off while driving down the road, which is pretty annoying. We kept the stock ones to see how they would perform on our trip. There are options you can get to get aftermarket ones that are like a lever that lock in place, but they potentially can cost hundreds of dollars on their own. We went with the low-tech solution of this wing nut, which tightens down to the center of the turnbuckle, and it seems to have worked. But however, one time we noticed that the turnbuckle had come loose off completely because there was so much tension at one point that it snapped the wing nut completely off. So maybe this isn't a viable solution for long term either. And to show the severity of what happens when your turnbuckle comes off, the whole camper has decided to move over to the left side. If you come over here, there is quite the gap in there. If we come over on this side, there is no gap. When the turnbuckle came off, it just decided to go. So that's not ideal for your home on wheels. And this brings us to an incredibly important topic of weight distribution. When building our camper, we had to put everything on the left side, like Our water tanks, the propane tanks were already there, but cabinetry, our food, our fridge, whatever, all that had to be on the left side, because on the right side there is a giant window, and that prevented literally anything from being built there, which is where we put our seats. We did, however, get the opportunity to build 2 cabinets on either side of the window, but those are only for clothes, so it really doesn't counteract the weight distribution. This is already particularly interesting for Tacomas, as they already have an issue with weight distribution, as the left side has the gas tank, the battery for the vehicle, as well as the driver. So over years, 10 years now, this truck has developed an incredible taco lean. So when planning your build, your truck and your camper, it might be beneficial for you to think about the weight distribution of where everything is in your camper and in your truck, as well as to have the proper suspension parts to counteract this potentially negative weight distribution.
All right, enough with the bad points. Let's go over to all the things we love about our camper. And surprisingly, the size is something that we hate and we love at the same time. When it comes to driving off-road and to literally any place you want, this setup is actually really compact and really light, which makes that we can drive anywhere we want. When we compare that to hard side campers, trailers, or high rooftop vans, we notice that we have a lot of advantage with our small setup. There are a lot of places that we could not have reached when we were driving any other rig than what we have.
Something we are both extremely happy with is the actual overall build quality of the camper itself. Now, 4-wheel campers do end up having a pretty high startup cost, but this comes back to you in dividends. It's quite cost effective if you think about how old this camper is, 10 years now. And I don't know about other owners, but we have beaten the absolute crap out of this camper on trails in the past year and a half here in Latin America. We've been off-roading everywhere on every kind of terrain, and it's held up. We've hit things with it too, but the materials have been super cost effective, as we haven't needed to replace anything, so we haven't had to spend any money on the camper itself.
And then our main concern in the beginning was the canvas. And definitely the first couple of storms that we slept through were pretty difficult. Like, we lost a couple of hours of sleep. But now, after a year and a half going through all kinds of weather, sleeping in all kinds of storms and windy conditions, we can tell you that it is extremely sturdy and that we have no worry in the world when there is a storm passing by and we have to sleep in the camper. Another thing we are very excited about and what we love about this camper are the 4 massive windows it has. First of all, what is really great about them is that they are high enough for other people to not be able to look inside. So we can keep all the windows down at all times and still feel the privacy that we have inside here. The windows are nice and big, which makes that there is a lot of airflow. And also, because they are high up and they are big, whenever there is a breeze passing by, it will always be caught by the windows. All windows of this 4-wheel camper are provided by mosquito nets, so we never have any bugs coming in. And at the same time, when you need your windows to be closed, when you have a van, it is glass. So behind the glass, it warms it up. But in this camper, because the windows are in the canvas, you can completely close them up, just like that. It is 3 layers with the thermal shield, and that really prevents it from bringing in heat. But the thing I love about the windows the most is when we are laying on the bed, the windows are right next to us, and again, nobody can see you there, but the windows are right next to us, so whenever there is a breeze passing, it just nicely moves from one window to the other and just cools you off.
Although we had some bad points about our camper in the beginning, we absolutely love it. It's our home on wheels and is the ultimate way we find to travel. We would, however, in the future like to upgrade to a bigger camper. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, drop them below and we'll get back to you. We'll see you on the next one.